Hello, this is Ryan Warnowski, and this is my ICOM 495 three-quarter presentation. Let's go ahead and get started. So the scope of my project, which we've been over a couple times, but just to get re-caught up, is that the term digital native has been coined to define millennials by Mark Prensky. And this is the idea that millennials have grown up with technology, and then there's this assumption that they are avid computer users that can easily filter information online. Research clearly indicates that this is false because 84% of undergraduates report the most difficult step in course-related research process, which is just getting started. So we're trying to build a landscape here where millennials can build confidence, ask questions, and improve their ability to learn. As we've gone over before, the audience for this class is going to be a group of students as the millennial audience, and this group needs to have, or is challenged with scholastic research on a daily basis. So the group of students targeted will be honors college students, and there are a list of classes that I've been in contact with throughout the semester. The purpose of my project is to help the millennial generation build confidence when conducting academic research. To achieve this goal, I've built my digital prototype using WordPress and then using a plugin called BuddyPress. The goal of the project is to reach out to undergraduate students at Ball State University who, like myself, struggle with research and getting started on large projects. To begin, we started creating 4 design alternatives for the project, so there are some early sketches. What we do is I would ask 5 students to compare the 4 design alternatives, and I'd give them a usability goal, and based on their own opinion, they'd be able to tell me, well, I like X better than Y, or Y better than Z, and they would give me an explanation as to why they like this prototype better than the other one. So then from there, we were able to build our first paper prototype. What's great about the first paper prototype is that it really laid the foundation of what I kind of had a vision in my head, and I was able to put it down to paper and see how users interacted with it so we could start making adjustments. So this led to our second usability test, which I created a cognitive walkthrough. The walkthrough was composed of 4 essential tasks for achieving my key usability goals. So for this test, I had 5 potential users of this web application. Each was given a note card with the task provided. No help was given to user, and they went through the task as I followed them with a score sheet and I observed their behaviors. As I was observing, I was keeping score and writing down how they interact with the website and the steps they took on a little scorecard looking similar to this. So for my first group of findings, and this was strictly from the paper prototype, I was able to see that when users logged in the prototype, the home page was overwhelming and the information dense. This proved to be too cumbersome for users because it took too long for them to digest the information, and they couldn't make those relationships of common website tools, and it just overall frustrated the user. In addition, there was a disconnect between what a user considered public and private. So a key thing of my website is that you can create private classes, and if a user doesn't know that a class is private, then they're going to make the mistake of making a post publicly, or they just have that disconnect between that key function as just having that option of making classes private. So another issue was that when people were trying to create classes, they were entering in their own email when my idea was that they'd enter in their classmate's email, and that's just having a lack of instructions and providing users direction in what they have to do. Moving on, users were confused by the language used in the prototype. So in the original paper prototype, I termed the questionnaire as a blog for advice, and when talking to each of my users, I quickly realized that users wanted to see a feed where they could quickly find questions, and a separate area where they can find advice. In the original design, the profile page presented no information that couldn't be found on other pages. It lacked the user's personal feed and answer stream. What I learned from testing users was the negative self-awareness that a dislike button would create. My original idea was to help prevent people from spamming the website and just being rude on it, but then if someone were to actually give good or try their hardest to give good advice and got a negative feedback, then they would never interact with the website just because they wouldn't feel confident using it. They feel like someone would make them feel dumb, which is against one of my usability goals. So kind of to counteract these things, we'll go over that when we make it to the final web prototype and see how those findings had an impact on the site. But coming from that, I was able to make a user requirement list, which included collaborative spaces that individuals can use to invite people to share ideas, pose questions, and brainstorm. Responsive site that can be viewed on multiple platforms. A multi-person blog, one that allows various media on each post. Create multiple spaces that are public and private. A notification tool that informs users when a question is posed. Separate chat and posting tools. Simple and easy to understand navigation. And a comment rating system. So now, taking all that I gathered, I built a final paper prototype, which I'm not going to show you in this video because we showed it in the last one. But from that final paper prototype, I was able to build out my digital prototype. So this is the home screen of the digital prototype. The website I created was called Class Confidence, and I said before, it's WordPress with the plugin BuddyPress. My three big points of the website are Ask, Engage, Learn. And what that stems from are my usability goals that I created at the beginning of the semester, along with my user requirements. So on this home page, there's the slider that will slide through. And on the next slide, it'll say Ask, and it will tell you how you can ask questions in the feed or go to classes and create private classes. If you go to Engage, it tells you how you can interact with your classmates through chat or using the posting tools, and then Learn is how you use this environment to better yourself and learn and build confidence in this environment. So those are my three plugin points, and what I did for this is the home page after you log into the website is I really wanted to simplify it down. I wanted users to immediately know how they could interact with the website, because one of the problems with the design alternative or the first prototype, paper prototype, is that it was so information dense on the home page that users didn't know what to do or where to go. So by making the About page kind of like that main hub, users not only know where to go, but they can interact successfully. So from this, I could see in my second usability test that users knew where to go on the navigation. They weren't as confused as the home page. So moving down, we're going to go to the class page. On the class page, you can see the recently active members. Your profile page is still there. You can see where the classes are. It's really simple. And then on that page, there's a create a group button, and that's where users can create public or private, or can create a public or private group based on a class. From there, we're going to go to an actual class page. So this is one that was created. It's called the Honors Capstone. And so you can see it's a private group, and you can see the posting area, and you can see the contributions students made. On the right-hand side, there's a chat, which is one of the usability, or one of the user requirements is the separate chat and posting tool. So you can see that on the right-hand side. There's a members page. This can just help you add friends, create friendships, so you can see who's all involved. It makes it much faster than just having to go wait for someone to email you, but you can just kind of go and be proactive about it and see who's online. On the right-hand side, again, you have your class list and your chat. On the feed page, you can just have your general feed. You can tell it where it's posting to a group, which is one of the issues in the first paper prototype, is that users want the option to be able to post to different areas just from one area, rather than having to go into class to post in class. So here, if a user wants to make a public post to everyone, they have that option, but they can also go to the post in and make it a post to a private area. So that's a feature that we built on from the first paper prototype. On the right hand side, you can see that profile, groups, who's online, that's still all there. All those plugins or all those widgets are there to help the user stay engaged or connected to the other pages while they're on one page. From there, you can go to your profile page, where you're going to have your notifications on the left hand side. You can see what you're mentioned in, your favorites, your friends, the groups you're involved in. You can set a profile picture. You can see who your friends are, and then you can also see what groups you were involved in. So that's all on the right hand side. So we're going to kind of go over now the working prototype findings and how we can improve the site coming into the last 4 weeks of the semester. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go back to the home page. And right now the home page just has the About. It has the widgets on the left and right hand side. And what I found in my usability testing for the second round through is that if I told the users to make a post, that they kind of don't automatically jump to the feed page on the navigation. They're looking for that posting area on this home page, which is currently it's not there. So I think that's definitely a feature that would like to be put into the home page, is that they can automatically have that posting area maybe right below the About, because users don't typically want to go to another page to find the action they want to do immediately. Another big talking point is the language of the website not being consistent and confusing to users. So you can let's go to the groups page, and you can see how I call it class, and I want it to be create a class, but you can kind of see how it says groups, my groups, create a group, and that's just kind of the language that BuddyPress uses as groups. So when I'm trying to set up is like, I want to say, hey, create a class, but when I was doing my usability testing, users would be like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to be creating a class or creating a group. And that kind of language is a little persistent throughout the site where I'm using a different word than what the actual function is using. So moving forward, it's something to kind of look in the code, see if I can tweak that, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to successfully do that. But maybe streamlining just the word, maybe just changing it to group is all I need to do. Um, Other issues would be on if you are creating a class, it pulls up an area where it wants you to write a description of the class, as you can kind of see. And right now the classes, they have descriptions there. And the problem being with that is that when users were given the ability to write description, they didn't know what to write. They wanted more specific instructions, like do I need to include the professor? Do I need to include a name? Do I need to include the time it's taken? Do I need to include what we actually do? So just by giving more specific instructions to the users, that they just feel more comfortable and confident, which is the entire point of the website, is that we're building confidence using technology to improve our learning. Um, Another big issue on the website, which we can go to the home page, but it's also on every page, is just the profiles located in the bottom right or top right of the widgets on the page, and it's just a small little login area. Most users look to the top on the navigation to see if that's where they could get to their profile or have a button up there, but it's kind of tucked away. The users didn't necessarily know that they could tap on the profile, and it's kind of just hidden there. Another problem with that is that the profile is where the notifications are. So if a classmate responds to one of your things and you wanted to respond to them, that's kind of a feature that's missing to you at the time because you're not even necessarily aware that the notifications are on your profile. When the users did succeed in making it to the profile, they didn't notice notifications were a tiny little area to the left-hand side. Now the website currently does send you emails, but I really would like to streamline the notifications so that users clearly know when someone's responded, because that's crucial to the website, is that when someone responds, they get that immediate, they know someone's immediately responded, so they can go ahead and move forward and not have to worry or wait about if someone answered their question. So those are my big issues moving forward in the next 4 weeks. A lot of it's tweaking that I'd like to go ahead and try and get to. The overall performance of users during the test, they succeeded almost probably 75% of the time for the most part, just going through and making posts and interacting with one another in the environment, which is really helpful with BuddyPress, is setting that up and creating those social interactions. So that's been very successful so far. Couple of things that are widgets that I can't go ahead and get just because it would add a little, it costs a little bit extra, like adding the ability to post multimedia post is like a widget that would cost around $50. So that's kind of missing, but the users understood that it would be in that same posting area and they understood that concept. So moving forward, those are the tweaks I'm going to make. I look forward to wrapping this up and letting more people kind of go live and see where it goes from here. Thank you very much.